Picture two people, same age, same city, same job, same paycheck hitting their account every 2 weeks. But 5 years from now, their lives look completely different. Not because one got lucky, not because one got a promotion or inherited money or started a business that blew up overnight. The only difference between them is this: one of them started saving, and the other one didn't. This video is about what that difference actually feels like. Not the numbers on a spreadsheet, not the theory, the actual lived experience of watching your savings cross $10,000, then $20,000, then $30,000, $50,000, and $100,000. Because here is what nobody tells you: the money itself is almost secondary. What really changes at every milestone is you. How you think, how you move, how you make decisions, how you sleep at night. And there is one milestone in particular, somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000, where something shifts so quietly and so completely that most people don't even notice it happened until they look back. We will get there. But first, let us start at the beginning. $10,000. You have been saving for months, maybe longer. There were weeks where it felt pointless, where the number barely moved, where something came up. It always comes up. And you watched a chunk of what you had built disappear overnight. But then, one day, you open your banking app, and for the first time in your life, you see 5 figures staring back at you. And the feeling is not what you expected. It is not excitement exactly. It is something quieter than that, something closer to exhaling after holding your breath for a very long time. Here is what actually changes at $10,000. The emergencies stop being catastrophes. Your car makes a sound it has never made before. Your tooth starts aching on a Friday night. Your landlord sends a notice you were not expecting. Before, any one of those things could have unraveled your entire month. Now they are still annoying, but they are just problems. Problems you can solve. That shift, from catastrophe to inconvenience, is worth more than the $10,000 itself. Your decisions start coming from a different place. When you have no savings, every choice you make is filtered through one question: can I afford this? That question is exhausting. It follows you everywhere. It sits at the dinner table. It rides with you in the car. It whispers in the back of your head during conversations that have nothing to do with money. But at $10,000, that question starts losing its grip. You are not rich, not even close, but you are no longer making decisions from a place of scarcity. You start asking a different question: do I actually want this? And that is a completely different life. You also start to feel something you probably have not felt in a while. Confidence, not arrogance. Not the kind that comes from showing off. The quiet kind. The kind that changes how you carry yourself in a job negotiation, in a difficult conversation, in a moment where you need to say no to something that is not right for you. Money, at this level, does not make you powerful, but it does make you less desperate. And not being desperate changes everything. $20,000. The second $10,000 comes faster than the first. Not because you are earning more, but because you are different. The habits are built. The identity is starting to solidify. You are no longer someone who is trying to save money. You are someone who saves money. That distinction matters more than any budgeting strategy anyone has ever written about. At $20,000, the emergency fund is real. You are not just covered for one thing going wrong. You are covered for 2 or 3 things going wrong at the same time. That is a level of resilience that most people in the world never experience. But here is what surprises people at this stage. The money starts making you more generous, not less. When you are living paycheck to paycheck, every dollar leaving your account feels like a threat. You hold on tightly because you have to. But at $20,000, you begin to loosen your grip. You can treat a friend to dinner without doing math in your head. You can give without it hurting. You can say yes to the things that matter without calculating the cost at the same moment. There is also something that happens to your relationship with work. You are still showing up. You still need your income. But you are no longer completely trapped. You have a small window of time, maybe 2 or 3 months, where you could survive without a paycheck. And that window, small as it is, changes the way you talk to your boss. It changes what you are willing to accept. It changes what you are willing to ask for. $30,000. This is the milestone nobody makes videos about, and it might be the most underrated one. At $30,000, you stop thinking about money every single day. That sounds small. It is not. Financial stress is one of the most relentless forms of mental noise a person can carry. It does not announce itself. It just hums constantly in the background, while you are trying to focus at work, while you are trying to be present with the people you love, while you are trying to sleep. At $30,000, that hum gets quieter. Not silent, but quieter. And the mental space that opens up when financial anxiety loosens its hold is remarkable. You start thinking further ahead. You start noticing opportunities you were too stressed to see before. You start investing, not just money, but attention, in things that have a longer time horizon. This is also the stage where your savings start working alongside you. If you are investing any portion of this, compound growth is beginning to do something visible. Not dramatic yet, but real. For the first time, money is moving in the background of your life without you doing anything. That feeling of not being the only one working is quietly profound. $50,000. Something changes here that is hard to describe until you feel it. At $50,000, you cross an invisible line. You are no longer just protected. You are positioned. There is a difference between having a safety net and having a launch pad. At $10,000 or $20,000, you have a safety net. At $50,000, you have both. Opportunities start looking different to you. A course that costs $1,500 used to feel like a risk. Now it feels like an obvious investment. A chance to travel for a month used to feel irresponsible. Now it feels like a decision you can actually weigh. A business idea that would have required borrowing money before can now be tested with your own capital. You also start to notice something uncomfortable at this stage. Fear. Not the fear of not having enough. The fear of losing what you have built. This is the part of the journey that most financial content never touches. But it is real. The more you accumulate, the more you have to lose. And that creates a new kind of psychological tension, one that requires you to become more intentional, not less, about how you think about money and risk. The people who navigate this well are the ones who remember why they started saving in the first place. Not to accumulate a number, but to build a life that feels like it belongs to them. $100,000. This is the quiet one. There is no confetti, no dramatic moment. You open the app one morning and the number is there, and life continues mostly as it did the day before. But something has permanently shifted. And it shifted so gradually that you almost missed it. You no longer make financial decisions from fear. That is the change. It sounds modest. It is not. Fear-based decision-making is the engine behind almost every bad financial choice a person makes. staying in the wrong job because you cannot afford to leave, accepting terms you know are unfair because you need the deal, avoiding risks that could change your life because you cannot absorb a loss. At $100,000, fear is no longer the loudest voice in the room. You have not eliminated risk from your life, but you have bought yourself enough distance from financial ruin that you can think clearly. And thinking clearly with your finances is almost unfair. Your investments are compounding meaningfully now. Your emergency fund is so solid, it barely requires attention. Your income, whatever it is no longer your only source of financial momentum. You are building wealth rather than just managing money. And that distinction between managing and building is the real milestone, not the number. There is also something that happens to your relationship with time. At $100,000 saved, you start to feel the future as something real and close, rather than something abstract and distant. Retirement stops being a concept for old people. Financial independence stops sounding like a fantasy. These things start feeling like destinations you are actively traveling toward. Because you are. Here is the thing about every one of these milestones. The money matters, but it is not the point. The point is who you become in the process of building it, because the habits, the patience, the identity, the ability to delay gratification and think long-term, those things do not disappear when the market drops or when life sends something unexpected your way. The person who saves $100,000 is not lucky. They are built differently than they were when they started. And that version of you, the one on the other side of this journey, is available to anyone willing to begin. If this video gave you something to think about, consider sharing it with someone who is at the beginning of this journey. Sometimes people just need to see the road ahead laid out clearly. And if you want to go deeper on the financial systems, the psychological architecture, and the hidden rules of how elite institutions actually operate, subscribe. That's exactly what this channel is built for.